Yeah, so I woke up around 2 a.m. I stayed in bed 1 hour, just doing nothing, trying to sleep, but I couldn't sleep. So 3 a.m. around 3 a.m. I decided to stay up because there's no point to stay in bed for 2, 3, 4 hours and I can't fall asleep. So I give it 1 hour. Like I usually give it 1 hour, 1 hour or two sometimes. If I can't fall asleep within 1 hour or two, I just leave the bed. That's how it is. Uh, yeah. So now it's about 4 a.m. in the morning, and yeah, I don't feel sleepy. I don't feel tired. Um, I think this is just part of my insomnia, I guess. Um, my body got used to for so many years now. My body got used to the like got used to wake like not sleep much, right? Not sleep much. I sleep, but I don't sleep much. Um, it's just got used to it. Um, so what I want to talk about, like keep reflecting on this. Why, like I don't feel tired. I don't feel sleepy. What about our circadian rhythm? So, what's this circadian rhythm biological clock is about, right? And I'm reflecting back on this. Um, because we learn in school that there is something called circadian rhythm, um, and it dictates when you should sleep, when you should wake up. We have this biological clock. That's what they tell you, biological clock, and it tells your body when to sleep, when to wake up. According to this biological clock, at certain times your body produces certain hormones that will push you to sleep, and at certain time your body produces other sets of hormones and that will push you to wake up. Uh, Hormones or neurotransmitters. So, and I'm thinking, is this really true? If this is true, that means there must be something wrong with my circadian rhythm, right? That's preventing me from sleeping. But I don't believe that it is true. I mean, on my vacation to the Philippines, there was one day when I returned back from the Philippines. That was the only day where I slept about 15 hours, right? The only day in during my entire insomnia, I got to sleep 15 hours, right? And I'm just thinking back, like, okay, was the day what I should learn a lesson from it, right? That was the day where I could say I learned a lesson from this day, right? Um, but before, few days before that day, I didn't sleep properly. And then when I came back to Canada, I was in a very good mood. So there were two elements here that probably caused me to sleep too long, right? The first one was the lack of sleep the days before, right? Because you're on the airplane, you can't sleep, whatnot, right? And and then when you come back here, it was when I came back here, it was already morning, right? It was about 3 a.m. in the morning. So I was maybe too much tired, right? Maybe, and but not necessarily too much tired. No, I wouldn't say too much tired, but it was I was tired, but I was in a very good mood, right? I wouldn't say too much tired. That will be a false statement. I was tired enough, and I was in a very good mood, right? Because now I miss my home. I'm like, oh, this feels good. So it was so easy to fall asleep. And then when I fell asleep, I just stayed in bed for that long, 15 hours. So this made me realize there are two elements. One is being tired, and one is being there are two elements to help people fall asleep: tired, feeling tired, and the mood, your mood, right? It has to be, both of them play a role in, um, both of them play a role in pushing you to sleep. It has nothing to do with circadian rhythm. And I'll tell you why shortly. Why? Yeah, circadian rhythm is just BS. It doesn't. There's no such thing as circadian rhythm. Um, there's no such thing. I don't believe in that. Because if there was such thing as circadian rhythm, like God made biological clock, you will never have insomnia, ever. I mean, ever, ever, right? Because if it's biologically controlled, you have no control over it. Human behavior will not affect it, right? Human behavior will not affect your sleep, right? Because that's it. The clock, the clock runs everything, right? Synchronizes everything. But we don't have that. We don't have that clock. No such clock exists, right? If it does exist, it will even control your behavior, right? If such clock exists, it will control your behavior. So like you'll be like, okay, no, I cannot stay awake, I cannot do this, I cannot control this, I cannot control that. The clock determines everything, right? But there is no such clock. That is just BS. It's like breathe. Like if you think of a clock, you have to think of a breathing too, because breathing is rhythmic, right? We cannot control breathing. Your body controls the breathing, like your brain controls it. Your brain controls your breathing. That's rhythmic. That also has a rhythm, just like a biological clock, right? Your heart rate is also a rhythm. We can't say the same thing with the sleep. Sleep is not a rhythm. Sleep is a behavior, it's a habit, rather than a rhythm, right? If it was a rhythm, then you have no control over it. Your brain just takes over, right? I could only say it's biological clock if it was a rhythm controlled by your brain, which is not true. It's not controlled by your brain. It's controlled by a behavior or a habit. That's what it's controlled by. Because you cannot control your breathing yourself. Like your behavior cannot affect your breathing. You cannot affect your heart rate, like your heart rate, right? Sure, we have a little bit control over it. Like let's say I go to the gym, my heart rate go up. I sit down, my heart rate go down. But that's about it. But it's controlled. But even no matter what you do, you cannot stop your heart. You cannot slow down your heart to a certain level just using your brain, right? So there are certain things you cannot do because this rhythm is controlled by your brain. Same thing with breathing. I could decide to go like this, hyperventilate, all right? I could still have a little bit of control over it, but I don't have full control over it because if you pass out, your brain takes over and your brain is the one in control, right? Your brain is the one in control, not you. The same thing with sleep, I guess. Sleep has the same principle, right? Like, I guess a little bit, I don't know. You could say your sleep is controlled by your brain too, but uh, normally we don't pass out if we don't sleep. It just doesn't happen. Normally, unless of course you go days and days without sleep, like multiple days. Normally, you don't sleep, well, your body doesn't give a fuck, right? You will not pass out unless maybe 3 4 days, 1 week you don't sleep, then you might pass out. But you pass out not because you didn't sleep, you pass out because your body gets too much tired. Maybe you cannot breathe, or maybe like something happens that make you pass out, right? Other biological mechanism that supposed to help you breathe and all that stuff don't work properly, so you pass out and then your body resets, right? So I think that's what happens. It's not about there is a biological clock, and your body is going to force you to sleep. Your body doesn't force you to sleep. It's your habits is what's forcing you to sleep. um, Sleep is a habit. It's mostly a habit, a behavior, and a habit, right? It's something you develop, you dictate, you control, right? We control this habit. um, that's what I believe. We have control over it. It's not our body has control over it, we have control over it. Our behavior dictates what time we sleep, what time we wake up. And I believe that. I believe that more than the theory of biological clock, right? I mean, there might be some truth to the biological clock, a little bit of truth, if anything, but I think the I think what controls our body is our behavior. I mean, what controls our sleep is our behavior rather than the biological clock, right? Because if I would say it's biological clock, I would say if I say it's biological clock that controls our sleep, then insomnia will never exist. Just think of it. Because when you say it's biological clock, that means the body, the biology of your body is in control, which in this case is not true. It's your behavior that is in control, right? Mostly. When there's a sleep problem, it's your behavior, it's not your body, right? It's your behavior. Well, there's some truth to it. I said before, it could be also your body, right? To a certain extent, because your body produces the hormones that are supposed to put you to sleep, right? So in that sense, that's the only biological thing that controls your sleep, right? The chemicals that your body produces. Uh, so that will be the biological aspect of sleep, right? But other than that, no. Mostly it's habit forming, right? Behavioral issue or habit issue. That's what sleep problem is a habit and behavior issue. A lot of it is. Um, but in my case, it started with me taking supplements and working at the gym at night. And the years before that, I didn't have good sleep also because I was doing the night shifts, right? So night shifts made me develop bad sleep behavior, right? Or bad sleep habits. And I started doing day shift, but when the funny thing is, I didn't have sleep problem when I was doing the night shift, but I had a little bit of sleep problem, but it's not like now, like full blown insomnia, right? Like my sleep was not that great, but still was not as bad as today, as it is today. Um, so when I start doing a day shift, this is when I start to have really bad problems with sleep. Um, because you would expect if you do the day shift, your sleep should improve. Well, it did improve for the first few months, I guess. It was good until I started taking supplements and going to the gym. I thought I was doing myself a service that, if I take supplements and I go to the gym, and that will help me improve my health and help me sleep better. But I was doing the opposite. Like it felt like what I did was very unhealthy. Going to the gym and taking supplement was very unhealthy because it fucked up my sleep, right? It really messed up my sleep. So and I think to do with the supplements too, because I did also take sleep supplements, and I don't know if the sleep supplement interacted with other supplements. I have no idea. Like this is why I don't advise people to take supplements, and like I advise myself and people not to do it in the future, uh, because very harmful. And I think to do with the supplements I took, I think so, and that caused some sort of chemical imbalance, and This is where we talk about biological, chemical imbalance, right? It caused some chemical imbalance and I couldn't sleep at night. Yeah, I mean, the sleep medication is not good to start with. You shouldn't take it every day. Um, so I was determined to improve my sleep. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna push myself. I'll go gym and I'll do this and push myself to be healthy, right? Lose weight and become healthy. And this is my attempt was to become healthier. But it turned the opposite. It just went the other way. Instead of me becoming healthier, I became more unhealthy, right? Um, it backfired, basically. My plan backfired. Uh, Here you're trying to be healthy, but you're planning to be healthy, but your plan backfires. Uh, so see, we're not always in control of our health. God is in control. Right? Sometimes you plan something and the opposite happens. Right? God is in control of everything. So always be grateful to God. Um, we don't have much control of our life, to be honest. Like sometimes we don't. You plan something, but the opposite happens, and just know that God is in control. Yeah. You have to be conscious of God, like always. Uh, Anyways, like sometimes you don't have to worry about your health because you're not in control of it. You don't have to worry too much. If God decides that you become unhealthy, something will happen. You might make a mistake and you become unhealthy. You know, even you're trying to be healthy, you will make that mistake while you're trying to be healthy, right? So I made that mistake and I became unhealthy. So this is God in control, okay? Um, Human beings make mistakes, and that's what it is. We all make mistakes. And this is one of my mistakes that I made. I wish I never touched the supplements. Gym is okay, but the mistake I made at that time, it's okay to go gym and be healthy, but the mistake I made was me going every day to the gym at nighttime, which was bad. You know, I will never do it at night because the reason why I did it at night because I was doing the afternoon shifts and I couldn't find a time in the day to work out, right? I will wake up very late. I go to sleep very late, wake up late. By the time I eat, drink, maybe do the grocery or do something, it's already time to go to work. I'm like, I can't find my time to fit in for my workout. So I'm like, the best time to fit in will be right after work. I work out, then I go to sleep, and that's the way I thought about it at that time. After I work out, I'll be too much tired and I'll be able to sleep. Or maybe, I don't know, that's my plan. But it backfired. Anyways, what I'm trying to say here is that there are actually three elements that control sleep. Chemical balance in your brain, right? The chemical balance in your brain. Your the feeling of being tired, and what's the other element? Mood, right? Three is mood. If any of these three elements go out of order or lose rhythm or become disordered, if any of these three elements, mood, the feeling of tired, the chemical balance in your body goes out of order, then sleep will become a problem. And that's why when a doctor tries to help a patient, they should consider these three elements, then make it these three elements should be based on these three elements, right? The mood, the feeling of tiredness, and the chemical balance. Chemical balance, you have to do a lab test, which a lot of doctors don't do. That's the only thing that's lacking in our healthcare system. The feeling tired is just basically it's just basically you feel tired, uh, like you could control how much you're gonna stay up and how much you will go to sleep, and that controls how much tired you will feel. For example, today I could say I'll sleep 4 hours instead of 5 hours or 6 hours, and that controls how much tired you will feel the next day to control your sleep, right? Uh, and then the element of mood, how you could improve your mood, right? Because mood, if you're not, even if you're tired and you're not in a good mood, you cannot fall asleep. The same thing, if you're in a good mood and you feel tired, but the chemical balance in your body is not right, you cannot fall asleep. That's why I'm saying there are three elements to sleep, right? All of them, they have to work together, these three elements. And if they don't work together, if one of them is out of balance, then you cannot fall asleep. It's simple as that. For me, for example, my body got used to the sleep supplements, right? And it developed this habit of like I have to take the sleep supplement to fall asleep. And then, so there was a chemical dependency, right? Developed a chemical dependency on the supplement. And so take the supplement, then you will feel sleepy, right? When that went out of balance, it doesn't matter what mood I'm in, if I'm in a good mood or not in a good mood. It doesn't matter whether I slept or I didn't sleep the day before. That all went out of the window, right? That couldn't control my sleep anymore because one of them was out of balance, one of the elements, right? Um, the same thing. Sometimes you could be in a good mood, but then what? But then you're not feeling tired, right? For example, let's say the day before I slept 15 hours, I was in a very good mood, slept 15 hours, but then what was missing? Like when I came back from the Philippines on my trip, came back home, and I was in a very good mood. I slept 15 hours. I woke up feeling very good. I was in a very good mood. But what happens? Nighttime comes. I don't feel sleepy. Why? Because the element of feeling tired was out of order, out of balance, right? You slept 15 hours, you're not feeling tired, even though you're in a good mood. And I just couldn't push myself to sleep. And then I stayed up all night the next day, right? All night I was awake. I couldn't sleep. So this is what I'm trying to say. Like these three elements are very important. We have to consider, right? So to control sleep. So I'm coming up with a plan right now. I don't know if it's gonna work or not because as I said before, I could push myself to sleep a few more hours after I wake up, and sometimes I could push it to 6 hours, from 4 to 6 hours. So normally it's 4 hours my sleep a day, normally. So now my body developed this habit. 4 hours a day is enough of sleep. 4 hours, right? Usually, if I sleep 4 hours, I got enough sleep. My body feels fresh. I wake up feeling fresh. I don't feel tired, nothing, right? So this is what I'm talking about. It's habit forming. Sleep is habit forming. Your body got used to sleeping only 4 hours. This is what your body developed, this habit, right? So my body developed this habit that 4 hours is enough for me. 4 hours of sleep is quite enough. After 4 hours, I'm not gonna feel tired. Okay? I cannot push myself to feel tired. So how I'm gonna make myself tired? Go to the gym? It's not gonna work, right? It's not gonna work. Do other physical activities? It's not gonna work. So how I'm gonna make myself feel tired? To feel tired is actually I have to stay awake. The only way I could feel tired is to stay awake. So after I slept 4 hours, then sometimes you have to push yourself to stay awake, and that will make you tired for the next day, all right? For the next night, I mean. If I sleep 8 hours, the next night I may not be able to fall asleep, and that's kind of the way it's working, right? Let's say one day I push myself to sleep 8 hours, but the next day at nighttime, I will not be able to sleep at all, right? And this is the problem I'm facing right now with insomnia, right? Because if you sleep good one day, the next day you won't be able to sleep. And because there's the element of feeling tired is not there anymore. So because sleep is a habit forming thing, it's a habit forming behavior, right? It's something you control by developing a habit, then I must change my habits, my sleep habits, right? Uh, Slowly and gradually increase it. So it's okay if maybe one day is 4 hours, next day I'll sleep a half hour more, maybe 4 hour and a half, and gradually just bring it up. And that's the idea here. I have to gradually bring up my sleep. But the way it should be done, I think, because I should teach my body to sleep early in the night. This is the ideal thing. So if I'm gonna sleep at 8, what time do you think I'm gonna wake up? 9, 10, 11, 12, maybe 1 o'clock, right? 12 or 1, I'm gonna wake up. If I sleep 4 hours every day, if this is my sleep behavior. So I told myself, okay, if I'm gonna sleep from 8 to 12 or 1, I could try to push myself to sleep maybe an extra hour, maybe 2 or 3, extra 1 hour or 2. Then stay up from 3 a.m. to the next day, to the next night, right? So that's what I should do. And then slowly try to increase it. So today, let's say I managed to keep myself in bed until 3. Tomorrow, maybe 3:30. I keep to push it 3:30, then 4. And gradually bring it to 5 or 6. If I could sleep up to 6, then I solve all my sleep problems. Because we'll be like from 8 to 6, that's a lot of time of sleep, right? But it has to be something gradual. It cannot be like, you know what I mean? Gradual. So it's okay for now. I'm waking up at 1 or 2 and staying up all night. It's okay, I think. It's your body doesn't really know. That's why I said there's no such thing as circadian rhythm because your body doesn't know it's day or night. It cannot tell the difference, right? Your body will not know the difference between day and night. It only knows I'm tired. Okay, I'm gonna sleep. I'm not tired. I'm gonna stay awake. That's the only thing it knows, right? Um, this is funny thing uh, because in the Philippines, the time is exactly the same as in Canada, exactly the same. Like if it's, but it's the same, but reciprocal. The time in the Philippines is the same as in Canada, but it's reciprocal. What I mean by that, uh, if it's 1 a.m. here, it's 1 p.m. there in the Philippines, right? So when it's daytime here, it's nighttime there, and it's exactly the same time as in Canada, right? So 3 a.m. here will be 3 p.m. there. And that's why when I went on my trip to the Philippines, I realized that your body doesn't care if it's day or night. It doesn't care. It only knows if it's you feel tired, you sleep, or you don't feel tired, you're not gonna sleep. And that's all it knows. That's all it knows. It doesn't matter which country you're in. It doesn't matter which land your body is in, right? Because I could be in the Philippines and then it's daytime. So this time the nighttime will be daytime. How like is my butt? Let's say one day we invent these super fast jets, airplanes, and then I could get from one country to another country. Let's say I'm making hypothetical examples here. And let's say one day we have the technology. I could go from one country to one another country within 1 hour, right? This is my thought experiment, right? I call them thought experiments because you're kind of experimenting by using your thoughts. Let's say we do that one day. We have the technology to make us go from, let's say, Canada to the Philippines in 1 hour. If that could be possible one day, do you think let's say I leave Canada at nighttime, where it's time to sleep, and then I go to the Philippines and I arrive there in the daytime within 1 hour. Do you think my body's gonna care? So, oh, it's night, is daytime. I'm not gonna sleep. Your body doesn't care if it's daytime. If you're tired, you're gonna sleep in the day. As simple as that. So there's no such thing as circadian rhythm, right? That your body somewhat knows it's daytime and it's time to, right? It's time to wake up or time to sleep, because it's not true. That's not really true. Uh, we don't have a clock that we take a cue, like they say, like in the textbooks to tell you that our body looks at cues like daytime, and if based on these cues it starts producing certain chemicals, and these chemicals will put you to sleep. Is it really true? No, I don't believe so. I don't believe these cues, they don't really help you sleep. What helps you sleep is the habits, right? Is the habit is more important than the cues, right? Because your body, does it care if it's daytime or nighttime? No. Like, okay, even daytime, I'm still gonna sleep. I don't care. If I'm tired, I'm tired, right? That's why some people sleep in the day also, right? They take a lot of naps. They take a lot of naps in the day because they feel tired. Uh, yeah, you're. I mean, sure, our brain does take some cues. I'm not saying it's completely false, but I'm saying that's not entirely what our body depends on when it goes to sleep. It depends on these three factors I mentioned before, right? The three factors, which is feeling tired, the mood, and the chemical balance, right? The circadian rhythm is not a major factor in our sleep. It's not. It's because even if I go to Philippines and it's daytime, I could still fall asleep there because it's daytime there, but it's nighttime in Canada. If my body is used to sleeping, if my body is used to the schedule of Canada, then I will start to feel sleepy in the day in the Philippines, right? Daytime. So that's kind of the idea. It wouldn't really matter much. But luckily, when I arrived at the Philippines, I arrived what time? I arrived in the morning, which is nighttime. Mm. Yeah, I remember I arrived in the morning, so it was nighttime in Canada. Yeah, I couldn't sleep. So circadian rhythm might be true. Might be. Yeah, we couldn't sleep, I think, at that time. I was feeling tired, like tired enough to sleep, but I was not feeling sleepy. Yeah, I couldn't sleep. We arrived in the daytime. I think none of us slept at that time. Because it was daytime. It's like, what the hell? You can't sleep. But again, it could be because we're also too much tired at that time, or too much excited to fall asleep. So when you're too much excited or too much tired, you cannot fall asleep. So circadian rhythm, I don't know. Maybe there's some truth to it. I'm just saying, not completely dismissing it. Um, maybe yeah, our body does depend on clues, but this is because clues like there's light, no light, daytime, nighttime, right? It does depend on these clues. Um, so that's what the circadian rhythm is, I guess. But but I don't believe in it as it's a biological clock, right? I believe in it as, yeah, sure, your body does take some clues from the environment, what when to sleep and when not to sleep, like if it's daytime or nighttime, because it's part of a habit. When you develop any habit, you also developing clues associated with that habit, right? There are clues, right? Every habit we form, we have clues associated with it. In terms of sleep, the clue will be day or nighttime, right? It's still a habit. I mean, if I wanted to sleep in the day, I could have slept in the day in the Philippines because I was too much tired. I wanted to sleep, but I couldn't, right? It's just because I have sleep problem. But if I didn't have sleep problem, I probably would have slept in the day. No problem, no issue. It's just the mood. Mood was different, right? The mood was different. Like my wife and my kids, they probably were excited, right? So their mood was excitement. Oh, we want to see, we want to talk to the people there. We want to have fun, right? So they're in the mood of fun, right? So they didn't want to sleep. It's like that sometimes when you're like too much excited, not necessarily depressed or stressed, but too much excited, right? So anxiety is not always the one that causes you to fall, to stay awake. Is being excited sometimes and being overstimulated in your brain could cause you to stay awake, right? Um, so how, for me, for example, for me, so the three factors how I'm gonna control them. There's the chemical part, which I don't want to touch anymore because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't want to take any supplements. I don't want to take any sleep medications because sometimes they work against me, right? So the chemical balance, I can't really do much right now, right? But I do realize that sometimes eating food before, after I eat food, I start feeling sleepy. Sometimes, not all the time, sometimes. And I think the reason being why food works to help you sleep, even though it's not advisable to eat any food before bedtime, uh, but it does help sleep. It does help in the chemical balance of sleep, right? Um, it's really true. It works sometimes, you know. Um, I think we make because there are amino acids like tryptophans, which gets converted to maybe serotonin and melatonin, right? So amino acids in the food are converted to chemicals that will help you sleep and reduce stress, right? We know sugar could help reduce stress, also sugars. So sugar help reduce stress, and then the chemical and the amino acids could help you make serotonin and all that stuff and melatonin, right? And that could help you fall asleep. Um, so eating definitely can help, but again, it's not good for your health. So as I said, anything you take, chemical or even food, it's not good for your health, but they could help you sleep, right? Um, yeah, because if you eat before bed, you could gain weight, and that's not good for your health. Your body cannot digest, like your body doesn't want to digest food when you sleep, right? It wants to work on repairs and stuff, right? Rather than digestion, right? You don't want your body to be busy digesting the food, and even if you eat during bed before bedtime, you'll wake up to pee and take shit and all this. Go like you need to go to the washroom more often, right? So that's also the disadvantage of eating before bedtime. But if you want the extra help, maybe don't eat too much, just a little bit, just to push you to sleep. At least small snacks, right? Maybe a cup of milk or something like that. Nothing heavy. Uh, yeah, you could take some supplements, I guess. Some people told me they advised me to take like what they call it, collagen. It might help sleep. I don't know if that's true. I've been taking collagen for a while now. It doesn't really help much. It might, I don't know. But I don't feel it. Not like food. Food is different. When I eat food, I feel sleepy sometimes. Um, as I said before, like I will sleep 4 hours, but make it a habit that I sleep early in the day. So I could wake up in the middle of the night and build my sleep drive for the next night, right? And slowly, gradually, I will just keep pushing and pushing my sleep. Like, let's say today I wake up at 2 a.m. Hopefully, tomorrow maybe I'll wake up at 3, and the day after for, I don't know, it's not gonna be day after, it's gonna be like 1 week after maybe, or 1 month after. Because it's a habit forming, it's not gonna change in one day. Any habit you try to form is gonna take months. So the first month, I should make my habit right now. Let's say if my habit right now is from, let's say I go to bed at 8 and wake up at 8, wake up at, let's say, 2. That's a habit. If I continue doing this from 8 to 2, 8 to 2 for 1 month, it becomes a habit, right? And then slowly the next month after, I should try to make it from 8 to 3 or 8 to 2:30. And then 1 month after 1 month, I could keep gradually increasing my sleep time. Uh, and hopefully I get 8 hours of sleep eventually. But, but that's how it's going to work, right? Sleep early. That's very important. I need to teach myself to sleep early. Because if I sleep late, then you will have anxiety, right? If let's say if I decide to stay up until 1 and wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning or 4 a.m. in the morning, I will have anxiety. 12 or 1, right? If I sleep at 12 or 1 a.m., I might wake up in the morning, but then I'll have anxiety. Late night sleep anxiety. So everyone's different. I don't know. For me, if I sleep too much late, I might have that anxiety. So if I want to reduce it, then I should sleep early, right? But surprisingly now, I don't have anxiety when I wake up in the middle of the night. I don't have that anxiety. I don't have it anymore because like I'm used to it, right? I'm used to wake up and stay up and do nothing basically. Or I try to do something, maybe watch a YouTube video or something, get myself busy with something, or vlog like I'm doing right now. Um, yeah, there's really not much you could do about your sleep. I mean, mood, you could control that too. Like don't think positive, negative things. Think about positive things. That's how you can control your mood. That's the only thing you can do actually. Pray. That could probably help you control. If you do meditation, do meditations, prayers and meditations. Maybe listen to music, listen to YouTube. Certain things that could elevate the mood. These things you could do to help you sleep. Um, I know some people who have insomnia, they maybe watch a YouTube video before they sleep, or they watch TV or something to just make them drift into sleep, right? What I'm trying to say here is that when we're too much tired, so that's why I said there's a balance between these three elements I talked about. When we're too much tired, we cannot fall asleep also. So we have to be not too much tired. You have to control that too. You just have to be normal, average tired, right? Average tired. If you're too much tired, you will not fall asleep. Uh, you will not fall asleep. It's because if you're near too much tired, it affects your mood. And if your mood is affected, then you cannot fall asleep. So that's why you have to control everything from being too much tired or average tired, then uh, control the chemical balance. You control the chemical balance by eating a certain amount of foods before bed. Um, that's a little bit of control. Of course, you can't have too much control over everything, but you could have a little bit of control, right? Maybe eat something, a snack before bed, like maybe drink a cup of milk, or have some protein before bedtime, and that will give you the amino acids to help you sleep. And then what you could do also, um, like don't make yourself too much tired, right? Like in my case, if I go to the gym, I might become too much tired, and that's gonna affect my mood, right? And that's not gonna help me sleep. So in my case, it will not work because it will affect my mood if I'm too much tired. And speaking of feeling tired, I'm just realizing something about it, right? The feeling of tired, why sometimes it doesn't help us sleep. I don't know why. To be honest, I don't know why. It used to help me sleep before my insomnia, feeling tired. Like if I go to before I have my insomnia, if I used to go to the gym, I'll fall asleep easily. Like I feel tired enough to fall asleep, right? But not anymore. I don't know. Now if I go to the gym, I'll have panic attacks, right? It's my body is working the opposite. The things that used to help me sleep before the insomnia, now they work the opposite way. Like gym used to help me sleep before I have my insomnia. Taking melatonin used to help me sleep, but not anymore. Now it gives me panic attack. Gym gives me panic attack. Uh, so there are certain things that start to work the opposite, like the opposite way, um, or unintended. What do you call it? Not how do I say it? I don't know how to say it. They work the opposite of what we anticipate, right? Um, so if I'm anticipating melatonin will help me sleep, it's working the other way around, like the opposites. Actually makes my sleep more worse, right? Um, I noticed that too when I take like melatonin. The first thing I feel after like maybe a few minutes or maybe half an hour, I don't know, like the first half an hour of taking melatonin, I'm like I can't breathe, right? I'm like I'm gasping for air. I'm like, like I cannot breathe. I don't know. It's like it feels like you took anesthetics, even though it's working because it's like it feels like anesthetics almost, right? Like it slows down your breathing and all that stuff, and something's happening. It's trying to push you to sleep, but when you have that feeling like I cannot breathe, there's no way you're gonna fall asleep. No way. It just makes you anxious, right? It creates that anxiety, and then I'm having panic attack, a full-blown panic attack. And all of a sudden I'm calling the ambulance. I'm saying, hey, look, I cannot breathe. I don't know what to do, right? So this is the problem with me taking sleep medications. The same thing. If I take psychiatric medications, it's doing the same thing. After I take it, it depresses my breathing, right? My breathing becomes depressed. Like I feel hard to move my chest. It's very hard to move my lungs. It's very hard to move it, right? You're in lung. You need to be able to move your lungs, right, to breathe. And if you find it difficult to do that, it's gonna be very hard to sleep. But I guess they're intended to work like anesthetics in a way. Melatonin and all these sleep medications, they work like anesthetics, like anesthesia, right? Anesthesia works the same way also. When we take anesthesia, they put an oxygen mask on your face because it depresses your breathing, right? Even the chemicals in our brain, they also depress our breathing when we sleep. Yeah, they do depress our breathing. That's why even though some people don't feel it sometimes when they fall asleep, but if you have a sleep problem, you might feel these things, right? Um, normally we're not supposed. Normally we pass out before we start feeling it, right? But if we feel our breathing, If you're conscious enough to feel your breathing at night when you're sleeping, you will probably feel suffocating. But we lose that consciousness, I guess. But with the people with sleep problem, they have that consciousness. That's the issue. Like for me, not everybody. I'm not talking about everybody. I'm talking about me. For me, I have that consciousness. I'm conscious. My mind is awake, but when my body tries to push me to sleep, reduce that breathing and everything, I start to feel it and I panic, right? And that's why I have panic attacks when I take sleep medications. Because part of my brain is conscious, is feeling everything, right? It cannot shut down my mind, the sleep medications. It tries to push me to sleep. It tries to numb me, to make me numb, right? Like to make me uh, tries to shut down certain parts of my brain, I guess, maybe, but it cannot shut down my mind. That's the only thing it cannot shut down. My awareness. It cannot shut down my awareness. These sleep medications, that's what it is. My awareness is very so strong sometimes, even during general anesthesia, right? Even during general anesthesia, it cannot shut down my mind. I had panic attacks during anesthesia. I think it was panic attack. I don't know what it was, but it was very similar to panic attack during anesthesia. One day they were doing operation on my feet, and they gave me anesthesia and general anesthesia. They tried to make me sleep. The first thing I remember I felt, the first thing, pain in my arm, right, left arm. And then the pain spread all over. It kept continuing, pushing. And then it went to my heart, and I felt too much pain in my heart. And then I passed out. Right? I think a few minutes after I passed out, my mind woke up. My mind woke up. And I was like, and I started to think at that time. I was thinking. At that time, my mind was awake. It was thinking. I'm like, why is it dark? Why I can't move my leg? Why I can't move my arm? Why I can't hear anything? Why I cannot see anything? It just keeps asking and questioning, right? Oh, I remember I went to the hospital and they were doing an operation on me. What happened? Did I die? Why I cannot open? Why I cannot do? I'm in a panic. I was in a panic because my mind is awake and it knows what happened before. It remembers what happened. It remembers I went to the hospital. It remembers that they were doing operation on me. And now I cannot see anything. Everything is dark. I cannot hear anything. Uh, so everything is like I can't move my leg. It felt like I was dead. I'm like, did I die? What happened? What just happened? Did I die? And not only that, and like why I cannot breathe. I felt that too. I felt that I cannot breathe. Why I feel something on my chest. Maybe I'm not dead yet, but I'm dying. Why? I felt like I'm dying. I'm like, okay, something happened. Why I can't breathe? This is not normal. They're gonna kill me. That's what I want to. My mind is telling me like this. They're gonna kill me because I can't breathe. There's something wrong, and maybe they screwed up in the operation. Maybe they did this, right? So I was conscious. My mind was conscious at that time. Um, it was aware. It's just I lost control. Like I couldn't open my eye. I couldn't hear. I couldn't see, but I was able to think, right? Uh, so this is just tells you even with the strongest anesthesia possible, the one even makes you knock out, right? Like general anesthesia. Even with that, you cannot control the mind. You cannot shut down the mind, right? Even the like you cannot shut down the mind at all, right? Same thing with any sleep medications, I guess. Even if this, I mean, and general anesthesia is even more stronger than sleep medication. Just imagine. Even with that, I couldn't shut down my mind. I was not able to shut down my mind. For some people, it might be good for them, right? But my brain, I don't know, the way it works is different from other people, right? And that's why I have insomnia. It works differently. Some people have different wiring of their brain. Uh, I'm pretty sure there are other people like me, but I think majority of people, they don't have these issues. Majority of people, their brain is wired differently. I mean, my mom, for example, she took general anesthesia before. She's like, I don't remember anything about it. Mm, I just remember my body floating or something, or I'm floating above my body. Yeah, I could see the physicians working out my body. Like it's like I'm in the ceiling. I'm looking down on them. Something like that. Like some people have out of body experience when they take anesthesia, right? I didn't experience that. I was inside my body. I was trapped inside my body, and I don't know what's going on. My mind was very active, thinking. I was having panic attack, so it's different. For me, it was different. Majority of people probably don't experience what I felt, right? They only experience uh, the maybe out of body experience and stuff like that. Even my aunt, the same thing. I think she also experienced out of the body, like her what my mom described to me. Even when my aunt took the general anesthesia, she felt the same way. She had out of body experience. I don't know. The drugs work differently on different people, I guess. Yeah, every person's different. For me, anything that's gonna cause me to become numb or shut down my neurons, it will not shut down my mind. There's nothing can shut down my mind, right? You might shut down my body, like my limbs, all that stuff, but my mind will still be active. Uh, yeah, it will still be active. And if it's active and I could feel my breathing, that will be panic attack. That's why melatonin, it doesn't work on me anymore. It used to work. It used to work fine before. Well, before, when melatonin used to work on me to help me sleep, I will pass out before I could feel my breathing, right? Like I will pass out before I'm not conscious about my breathing, right? That's what I'm trying to say. Uh, so there was that element of the melatonin that help it work, right? Even now and then when I sleep, my body works the same way as the melatonin, like the chemicals, right? Like 2 days ago, 2 days ago, I remember I was sleeping and I was feeling difficulty breathing while I'm sleeping. I'm like, I can't breathe. While I'm sleeping, I was saying this in my dreams, okay? And because I guess my body was making something like the melatonin, right? And it was too strong, maybe. And I felt like I couldn't breathe, right? In my sleep. After that, I woke up, right? So there's sometimes it's like that. Um, because normally it does. These chemicals, they do uh, sh- reduce our breathing when we sleep, and it reduces our heart rate. It reduces everything, heart rate, breathing, because you want everything to slow down when you sleep, right? Your neurons will slow down, your heart will slow down, your breathing will slow down. So if your heart slow down, you don't need to breathe too much, right? So that will slow down your breathing. You don't need too much oxygen. But the problem is when you take these sleep medications, it's not natural, and sometimes it over push your. It's like it's too much, and then your breathing becomes more difficult, right? And that's why you have panic attacks. That's why some people have panic attacks, because it affects their breathing. It might kill some people. I've heard stories where people die after taking sleeping medications, because these things are dangerous. They could, if they could play a role in your controlling your breathing, they could kill you, basically. Sleep medication is never safe, even the one prescribed, right? Doctors don't know everything. They don't do the testing. How do you know it's going to work on me? If you don't do enough testing to see if this medication will work on me or not, how you're just making an assumption. Oh, it might work. Let's try. Let's experiment. They're using you as a guinea pig, right? And experimenting on you, see which medication works. And one of these experiments might fail, and you might die, right? Anyways, that's that for today.